Well, my name's Marc von Grundherr. I'm a director of Benham Reeves, and we'd like to thank you all so much for joining today. We're now gonna start the presentation. Thank you so much for those of you waiting a few minutes early. It's just we wanted to wait and let as many people as possible join. As we know, there's quite a lot of people tuning in from around the world. While this is a Malaysians focused webinar, but if you are based elsewhere, and of course the content is still valid and we have offices in many regions, we'll always be happy to help you. So anyway, welcome, as I said, for joining us for our webinar today, London Property Sale, Extraordinary Times, Extraordinary Deals. Everyone's asking where to find the next best deal in London. So today we aim to answer that by providing the outlook for the London market, an update on loans available and how easy or difficult it is to get finance on London property, and then actually analyze those extraordinary deals. So today, I'm the host, Marc von Grundherr, and Melvin, who runs our Malaysia office based in KL, is going to start by providing the market overview and update. And with many years' experience in international investment consultancy, Melvin has built up a wealth of knowledge and created amazing returns for his clients, ensuring they always buy well, let well, and then exit for the maximum profit when they want to sell. And as head of our Malaysia office, Melvin and his team are there to help Malaysian investors 24/7. When Melvin's finished the update, then he's going to pass over to our fantastic guest today, David Can, who's a fantastic, highly experienced mortgage broker from Capricorn Financial. He's originally Malaysian and based in Malaysia, assisting clients there with all their mortgage and loan needs. And he's going to give an overview of the current mortgage market for the UK and the currency financing of options available to Malaysians right now. And then after David's finished, Melvin will return to talk about those extraordinary deals we have at the moment on London properties and the amazing deals that we have. And finally, David and I will join back with Melvin to answer any questions that you have. So please, I can already see a couple of questions coming through. So please do send them all through during the talks, anything property related, and we'll try to answer them all. So without further ado, I'm going to pass over to Melvin, who'll do the update on London. Thank you very much. Enjoy.
Thank you very much, Marc. Welcome, everyone, and good evening. And thank you for joining us in such short notice. So here we are, extraordinary times, extraordinary deals. And we hope to provide you with a very exciting program this evening. First half of the webinar, as Marc said, I'll bring you through the current market updates, what we as an organization in the heart of London is facing now in terms of these challenging times, and also times of opportunity in abundance and abound. Yeah, and after that, I'll hand over to David to do the loans of very interesting and exciting interest rates. As you know, interest rates are an all-time low now, or cash rates are an all-time low. And once David is done, then I will go through with you the developments which we feel hand in heart meets the criteria of extraordinary deals, developments that are of value, value for money, yeah, great discounts, excellent locations with transport links, and functional infrastructure. And these developments are in zone 1, 2, and 3. And of course, we'll end it off with the Q&A. Of course, very quickly, we'll do an introduction on, Benham Reeves, yeah. So we have been 60 years in London with about 16 branches across London. And, Yep, 16 branches across London. Sixteen branches across London with international offices around the world, and and we have about our properties that are fully managed. About 65% of our properties are fully managed. We do today turnkey investments, yeah, from investment advice, handover, snagging, furnishing, refurbishment of properties, lettings and management, property and management, and tax returns. Of course, we have been 60 years in the market, and today in Malaysia, we're in Plaza Damas. We've been 5 years here, and of course, we serve about 200 to 300 landlords, and we've been here, and hopefully we help them monetize their properties, and we have been doing out throughout this and holding their hands throughout these many years. So next, of course, I'm sure many of you guys have lingering thoughts and questions on your mind, and many of you have spoken to your friends who have given their advice on the current property market, the situation in London now. Yes, there are certain challenges in the market, and the market has been soft due to the lockdown and challenges brought by the COVID-19 virus. However, as the saying goes, whenever there's a crisis, opportunity abounds. But first, let me share with you now the situation in London. Of course, when this COVID-19 virus hit and the lockdown began, we as an organization, of course, is a little bit worried, but we rallied and we begin to rally our teams and, of course, speak to most of our tenants. As you know, our tenants are the lifeblood of our organization. Whether they are able to meet rents, whether they are okay. So all these health checks have been done. And a lot of people are calling us and asking us how's the situation now in London. And once the lockdown has eased, we are now seeing that the market has rebounded as such. Yeah. And we are seeing both office in terms of sales and rental market coming up steadily and slowly, of course. And very interesting fact is that just before the COVID-19 virus hit, we had about 20 keys that we took from IGM Land, which is the Royal Mint development. And of course, London also took about 20 keys, so we have 40 keys or 40 units to let. But now, after the lockdown has eased, for Malaysia, out of the 20 keys, we only have left 3 units which are unlet. And of course, this is led by our very, very capable team led by Marc Wellington in the city office. And we have letted out almost all, touch wood. And of course, as you can see in the slides here, as of yesterday, Rightmove has about 6 million visits as of yesterday, and up of 18% in terms of visits as compared to last year. So this is the London market that's been coming up slowly, and momentum is building. In fact, we have just completed a deal yesterday or 2 days back for Battersea Power Station, about £690,000 in terms of our 1-bedroom. So the sub-sale market is coming in, offers are coming in, and the market is slowly recovering. One thing to note about the London market is that it's an equity-backed market. Yeah, international investors who are affluent are investing, and of course we have the holding power. Out of the 200-300 landlords that we have in Malaysia, none have sold. Everyone has held steadily. Income is coming in, and thus the reports, what I'll be sharing with you shortly, and David will be sharing with you, is that are the data and what we have been experiencing. Of course, this is from Rightmove. As you can see, after the lockdown has eased, yeah, we are seeing a little bit more momentum building, and as you can see, tenants are moving in, and tenants are slowly coming back up to the market. So David will touch with you this with regards to the interest rates in London afterwards. Interest rates are an all-time low, yeah, and that's why we are showcasing this on how to take advantage of the ever low interest rates in terms of loan, and of course coupled with the current low pound as well compared to the pre-Brexit period. In terms of Malaysian ringgit, you're looking at an 18% discount. So extraordinary deals and major discounts are there in terms of interest rates as well as currency, and customers today will benefit from the savings of both. So this is something that I'd like to show you in terms of rents. And if you're a buy-to-let landlord, if you can see, the data shows that on contrary, last time we used to think that it's young professionals who are letting in London, but today we have an older generation. And in fact, by 2025, data states that about 60% of Londoners will be renting by 2025. So this is a big change for buy to let, yeah. And there is a surge of buy to let, and I'll share with you shortly with regards to the stamp duty. But 60% of Londoners will be renting by 2025. And of course, there's a stamp duty surcharge now coming up for foreigners, yeah, and it's coming up for properties that are completing by April 2021. So there's a pent-up demand now, and there's a rush, primarily coming from countries that have eased their lockdowns. So what we are showcasing today shortly are properties that are completing before April 2021, so that you can sort of circumnavigate away from this stamp duty. Yeah. So there's a lot of talk about businesses exiting, companies exiting, and of course the doom and gloom. But what I've done and what we have done in terms of research is that London is still the leading European fintech, and in terms of tech businesses, and it's the European fintech capital in terms of amount of funding and the numbers of unicorn. Very interesting fact is that today London has more fintech unicorns than San Francisco, and London today has employed more tech employees compared to the San Francisco Bay Area. The latest companies that have gone to London are TikTok app, which has about 1.5 billion downloads. And very interestingly, as of May 20th, during the height of the COVID pandemic, Huawei has formed a 5-year partnership to help build Imperial College Tech Hub in the West London campus. So this will be in the Westfield campus, or the White City Living campus. Okay, it's in the White City area, and Huawei is coming in, TikTok is coming in, and of course, UK is home to 4 of the top 5 unicorn hunter investment funds. And why? One of the reasons why is London's infrastructure is cited as a key reason for its continued prominence in fintech. Unlike your US, where if any legislation, they need to go to Washington and all that, in London, everything is in close proximity to a number of major universities, research centers, Europeans and UK cities, government, regulators, talents, and capital. And as a result, the UK capital is increasingly seen as a possible new region for not just fintech, but other tech startups by investors and entrepreneurs as well. So it's well positioned. And this slide's what I'm going to show you next is these are the infrastructure or the acquisition by all these companies that were done during the Brexit period, during this uncertain period in which Brexit was happening. Bloomberg invested 1 billion in its European headquarters. McKinsey commits to a new 100,000 square feet office. Wells Fargo spends 400 million, and Deutsche Bank signed a deal of about 50,000 square feet. And Citigroup bought their own building of a 42-story London skyscraper. Yeah? And as you can see, as for Malaysians, we need to be very proud of our Battersea project. And I'll show you the prices afterwards of what's coming. Apple's new London headquarters is part of a 17 billion mega development, and the tech giant will be relocating 1,400 employees. This happened during Brexit. Google committed to a massive new London headquarters. This happened during Brexit. And of course, the cheese grater and the walkie-talkie buildings were bought by the billionaires of Chinese industries conglomerates, Lee Kum-kee being one of them. But what I want to share with you, the point now is that these buildings and these acquisitions were made during uncertain times. And that is why we are here today in terms of looking at sales and looking at acquisitions during uncertain times. The UK government has created a lot of shielding or intervention for their people. Just like here in Malaysia, they have a moratorium period for their loans. Anyone furloughed have their salary paid up to 80%, kept up to 2,500 a month, and now this is extended up to October. Yeah, self-employed individuals are getting grants up to 7,500 for their payment pounds in terms of pounds, and in August, there's a second payment of £6,570. And of course, then there is a coronavirus loan scheme, which the government is standing behind 80% of loans, and companies can borrow up to £5 million. So these are all the help in which the government is giving the industries, the SMEs, and to individuals in general. Of course, what we can see here, and this graph I'm sure you all have seen before, is the strong historic market performance of properties in London. So what we are seeing is that London is a very resilient city. Yeah, it has gone through the 1920s Spanish flu. It has gone through the Great Depression in the 1930s. Of course, we have the dot-com boom in 2001. And of course, we have the financial crisis in 2008, the GFC, and they have gone through Brexit, or rather, we as a company has also gone through Brexit. Prices have held steadily. If we are also looking for bargains these days, but in terms of fire sale, we are not seeing as many as I've shared earlier. Most of our landlords have hold their properties, and tenants are still paying their rents steadily. So as banks still lending, I will let David touch on this, but we have very interesting loans today. In terms of interest rates, loans below £500,000 as foreigners, you can actually get it at 2.56% interest rate. So this I'll let David cover shortly. Yeah, but I'd like to cover with you the historic investments that some of our directors have invested in, have made money. And of course, London properties is always a long-term investment. So comparing to cities, some of y'all might have invested in Australia, some of y'all might have invested in Malaysia, some of y'all might have invested in London. Ask your friends, for those who have invested in different cities. So what I'd like to share with you now are historic achievements, and these are real. These apartments have been just revalued recently. Yeah. So this is an apartment in Notting Hill in which my managing director, Anita, owns. She bought it in 2014 at 460,000. The current value is at 630,000. Yeah. And of course, you achieve an annual rent of £26,500 with a gross yield of 5.76%. And if you don't take finance, if she had used cash at £460,000 back then in 2014, her return on cash should be 36.9%. But with finance, your return on cash is 123% if you take a 70% finance. Thus, we always advocate our clients to take a little bit of loan, be it 50%, be it 60%, because the interest, you can mitigate it against tax. So this is in Notting Hill. This is the west area. We're going south now. This is in Tooting. And of course, this apartment is owned by Marc himself. And you have a one-bed apartment in Tooting. And Marc purchased this in 2015 for one bed with £320,000. Current value is at about £475,000, and with an annual rent of £18,660,000 with a gross yield of 5.83%. If there's no finance, and Marc would have bought this with £320,000, his return on cash would be 48.4%. But with finance, his return on cash as of today, I believe he's just recently revalued it with the bank, is 161%. So very interestingly enough, there have been purchases like when Anita bought this, is her one bedroom in Notting Hill. There were about 30 purchasers who went in together with them. And for this one in Tooting with Marc, about 15 purchasers who has gone in together with him. And they are achieving this same rates right now. This is apartment in Stratford. This is Doris's apartment, who's our director in Singapore. And she purchased this two-bed back in 2015, worth £365,000. And the current value now is £585,000 with an annual rent of £23,400 with a gross yield of 6.4%. Yeah. And if there's no finance, a return on cash would be about 60%. And With finance, her return on cash is a whopping 200%. Now, of course, this was bought about 5 to 6 years back, and these are the returns that they are achieving. So we don't encourage buyers to flip. Yeah, if you want to invest for the long term with a real economy, with the tenant working, paying you their rent, and sustaining the development. Take a little bit of loan. And this one in Ealing, I believe it's our finance director's apartment. This is Vito's apartment. He bought this studio on the western side of Ealing. Purchase price then is £280,000. Today it's about £450,000 with a gross yield of 5.57. And without finance, if you use cash, his return on cash will be 60%. And with finance, his return on cash is a whopping 202%. And of course, this one in Colindale, just let me, okay. This one in Colindale, a 2-bed, a purchase price £250,000. This one is purchased by our property management director. And the current value now is at £450,000. Annual rent is at £20,600 with a gross yield of 8%. This is a Barclays scheme, and this is Beaufort Park, yeah, and it's done very, very well. So those who have entered early, the first phase of the scheme, and they have done very, very well. So the return on cash would be 266%. So this will be my last slide for the market update. The next slide would be to David. So David, you'd like to take over now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Melvin. Okay, for all this very clear information. Good evening, everyone. In Malaysia. Okay, very nice to meet you here. My name is David. Okay, I born in Malaysia, but now I'm based in London. Our office at this Hammersmith. Okay, come to this property purchase in the London or in the UK, any part in the England. Okay, there's a type of purchase a lot of people are going to ask. Okay, what kind of property could I buy and buy it for what purpose? Of course, you could buy any property in England. Either you want to buy it as a buy to live, you yourself to live inside, or you want to buy it as a to let. So we call it buy to let. If you're going to buy it to live in, so of course you could buy under your sole name, or you could buy under a joint name up to a maximum of 4 applicants at the same time. If we're going to buy it as a buy to let, so we could buy under a personal name, or we could set up a SPV limited company to buy under the company name to enjoy this efficiency tax purpose. Of course, you could buy under sole name, joint name, or max up to a maximum of 4 applicants. Next, Melvin, please. So on this purchase, okay, regardless you buy it as to live in or you buy it as to let, okay, there are always 2 types of mortgage. Okay, the first type is the principal plus interest, okay, or we call it repayment in here. Okay, and this type of repayment is normally applied to both buy to live or a buy to let. What the difference between this repayment scheme is, when you, let's say somewhere that you borrow a 300,000 at the beginning for a 25 years of mortgage term, so you pay every month the monthly repayment, and this repayment will consist of the capital and the interest. And the longer year that you pay, okay, then it will reduce your capital. So at the first half of the mortgage term, you will see that most of the payment that you pay is mostly for the interest and small amount for the capital. But on the second half of the mortgage term, you will see that the amount that you pay is largely to reducing the capital, and it's a small amount is for the interest. At the end of the 25-year mortgage term, you are definitely clear of the entire mortgage. So you have no more mortgage at the end of this mortgage. Yeah. So the next good thing in the UK is, and I believe is only available in the UK, which is we call interest only. That is very good for investor because interest only allows you to pay only the interest without the capital if you are the investor. So interest only might be very good for you. So the interest only means every month the payment that we pay to the lender, we pay only the interest. So let's assume that you borrow 300,000 at the beginning for a 25-year mortgage term. Every month you pay for the interest. At the end of the 25-year, you still owe the bank of 300,000. A lot of people gonna ask me, okay, how am I going to pay back off this 300,000? Okay, it depends on everyone. Okay, everyone is different. Okay, but for myself, my own investment is I'm not even going to pay back because why? I borrow now for 300,000. After 25 years, I still owe the bank of 300,000. But I bought the house today as 500,000, and what is my property value after 25 years? So that will be a lot. Right? So if I sold one of the property, I could clear off all the interest or all this capital. So I'm not really worried about that one. So next, Melvin, please. So for the type of interest, okay, so we know that we have the repayment, we have the interest. So for mortgage wise in UK, we could choose either a fixed rate or a tracker rate. A fixed rate means like we could have a mortgage term 25 years, okay, but we could choose for the initial 2 years or 5 years, we fix the interest rate. So let's say somebody say a 2-year fix. If we fix the initial 2-year interest rate, this means at these 2 years, regardless how the markets work, okay, it doesn't matter whether the Bank of England or how worse the world economy is, whether the interest going up or down, your interest is not affected. Your interest will be locked at the agreed at the beginning times when you agree. So let's say somebody said 2%. If you lock it at 2% for the next 24 months, you have no worry about any change on your monthly payment to the lender. No worry about what the interest rate is going to be. So your interest rate will be this. You will stay at the same for the entire 2 years. Okay, that's an advantage or disadvantage using this fixed rate. Okay, the fixed rate advantage is give you a stability. You know how much you need to pay every month, so you have no worry about what next month payment is. Okay, but the disadvantage of using this fixed rate is when the interest rate is reducing, of course, you are not entitled for that. You are not benefit for any interest reduced in the market. Okay, but another disadvantage is if you are using the fixed rate for a 2 years phase, okay, that means your contract will be locked for 2 years. If you're going to quit or exceed this mortgage within this 2 years, that means there will be an early repayment charge. We call it ERC. Yeah. So after the 2 years, what we tend to do will be every 2 years you will be remortgaging or refinance. Okay, at the times we will check, see what other lender will be offering the best rate at that time. Then we could switch our products to another product which are better rate. So that means we're going to change it after 2 years or after 5 years if you choose a 5-year fix. Next will be the tracker rate. Okay, the tracker rate will be slightly different. Tracker rate mostly track based on the Bank of England base rate. So if the Bank of England base rate is lower, so your interest rate will go low, will go down as well. If the Bank of England base rate is going up, your interest rate will going up. And all these rates are reviewed every month. So when the rate is changed, you change. But why people is using tracker rate instead of fixed rate? Let's say somebody said that if you have a plan to sell your property in the next 6 months, right? So it's no point to fix it for 2 years. So in that case, it would be best to use a tracker rate for the next 6 months. So because you're going to sell your property, so there's no point using a fixed rate, right? So next, Melvin, please. So for this mortgage requirement, okay, a lot of people are going to ask, okay, how can I get a mortgage? Am I qualified to get a mortgage? I would say that regardless how your circumstance is, if you want to get a mortgage, of course, we could find a lender for you. Okay, so the finance could be, a mortgage could be available for any individual. Okay, if you apply for your own name, or you want to buy the property and apply the mortgage, okay, under a joint application, or under a limited company or LLP or offshore or onshore application is all acceptable. Okay, and the type of the application, like I say, it could be a single joint or limited company. It could be a guarantor as well. A guarantor means, okay, the title deed, the property title deed is only has one person name, but the mortgage is had two person name. This is quite a lot being used by a lot like parents that has a children who are living in the London. They want to buy the property. They want to put the property under the children name, but the parent as a guarantor for the mortgage. This could be used as well. Yeah. For the property type, what kind of property type you could purchase? Of course, you could buy any type of property type, house, flat, or new build property. Of course, it's not a 10. Okay, if you want to buy a 10 or kind of one, okay, that is will be totally different. Yeah. For the interest rate wise, the lowest rate at the moment, okay, you could see 2.59 and up to 4.19. Okay, it depends on what is the percentage and what is the circumstance of the customer. Okay, and from time to time when that is, because now it's a COVID-19, okay, some of the lender is still not back to the market. When there's a lender back to the market, okay, we've seen a lowest rate up to 2.3 something as well. Okay, so it's still hard to say at the moment. Okay, but at the moment the best rate now is 2.59. For the loan margin wise, you could borrow up to from 55% up to a maximum of 75% of the property price. It depends on the this rental income. Okay, the minimum amount for the finance is from 60,000. If you bought a property in anywhere, okay, as long as your minimum loan amount is 60,000 is fine. Up to a maximum loan amount 3 million per property. You can buy a Paris here, not related issue. Yeah. A minimum income, as long as you have a minimum income of 25,000, okay, then you could easily get a mortgage. But what happens if you do not have a minimum income of 25,000, but if you have other source of income, we still able to find you a mortgage. Just get in touch with Melvin or Marc. Okay, we will able to arrange something for you. Okay, some lender also do a lot to use this what we call a lender top-up facility. That means if the rental income is not enough to cover up to 75%, but if you have a very high income, okay, the lender might consider using part of your income to top up the affordability to allow you to borrow up to a 75%. Next, Melvin. So for this, to apply for the mortgage, okay, this document you are required is not really a difficult document. Okay, it is very easy. Proof of ID is like the passport, okay, proof of residency. Okay, as long as you have a proof of address, we normally use like the bank statement or utility bill, okay, we'll do. If you are employed, okay, just apply a pay slip, 3 to 6 months. If you are self-employed, a 2-year audited company account or a 2-year tax return. If you are a retired person, as long as you could prove or you still have continued income after the retired, like the pension, or you have an investment profile, or you have a rental income, you could do as well. Okay, for the proof of deposit, easy, just a bank statement showing the money is in your bank account. For if you are a buy-to-let portfolio, means you have more than 4 or 5 property under your name. Okay, so we just need to fill up a buy-to-let portfolio. So we need to show the lender, we need to know how much you collect from each property. Okay, for if you have this existing mortgage, okay, in either Malaysia or in UK, okay, all we have to do is just provide an annual mortgage statement showing that you have no missed payment for your mortgage. That should be fine, no problem. Credit card statement is quite standard. Normally the lender just want to see how your expenditure habit. Okay, just latest month credit card statement will do. Personal tax record, yeah, it's just showing you did pay tax. Like I said, if you have all this income, okay, you could pay tax, no problem. If you do not have all this information, okay, don't worry, still come to us. We will still find you a solution for your purchase. Okay, loan to offer, the procedure timeline. Normally, it would take about a month to get this mortgage approval from the date of submission. It depends how fast you submit this supply all this required document. Sometimes it could take up to 1.5 months, or sometimes it could take up to 5 months. Okay, it just depends on how your documents supply to us. Okay, what we do, we normally will preview all the document. Okay, before we submit to the lender, we will tell you what we are missing. Okay, what will be needed. So we try to package everything before we submit, so we know how good your application will get approved. Okay, next, Melvin. So there are 10 most frequently asked questions. Of course, there will be more questions, but at the end of this presentation, you can ask Mac and mine as well. So, but what is the common question will be like? Okay, what is typical loan to debt ratio? Okay, for the UK bank and the Malaysia, this applicant. So, like I said in the earlier, the maximum you could borrow is up to 75% of the property price. Yeah, but the minimum borrowing is 55%. Can an applicant get a loan pre-approved for property for off-the-plan property that are completing in 2 years later? Unfortunately, all the pre-approval is only can get 6 months before the property is completion. So if you are buying an off-plan which is completing in the next 2 years, okay, that is impossible to get any pre-approval, because the lender wouldn't know what is the interest rate at the time, and the lender also wouldn't know what the bank terms and conditions at that time. Okay. Is there a validity period for the loan offer? Yeah, when you receive the loan offer, normally the offer will be valid for 6 months, and this offer could be extended for another 3 months if the property unable to complete for within the 6 months. And the extension of the loan offer is very simple. Okay, all you have to do is not something that you need to do. Okay, it's something that I normally will need to do. Is I will normally monitor the entire process, and when it comes to this close, this expiry date, okay, and the property is still not finished, okay, normally we will contact this lender to request for the extension. And there's no fees, okay, for extension. Yeah. Can we open a UK bank account with the mortgage loan? Okay, yes, okay, and no as well. Okay, depends on the lender, which lender that you're using. Some lender they provide you a free banking account, so you have no worry about opening up a banking account. But some lender that don't provide a UK bank account. If the lender don't provide you a UK bank account, you don't have to worry, because we will arrange a UK bank account for you. We will find you a way to open up a UK bank account. So nothing worry about this one. What if my children who are working in the UK and receiving a salary does the rate apply? If you have a children working in the UK and receiving a salary from a UK company, of course, we could use a UK local bank for his or her mortgage application. Of course, the rate for the UK resident will be much lower. Typically is below 2%. That's not very difficult. You just need to know that your children has a T2 visa or a permanent resident or holding this UK passport. And normally the loan amount could get up to 90%, and the lender would normally loan up to 5 times of their salary. And any amount is not enough, of course, you could be supplying from the parents. Next, Melvin. So what's the tie-in period? Okay, for every mortgage, you have a tie-in period. Okay, so let's say, although you say the mortgage is there 25 years, but there are tie-in period. That means within this tie-in period, you are not allowed to exceed. If you exceed this contract, there will be a penalty. Minimum from 12 months and up to a maximum of 60 months. Like I said, like a 2-year fix or a 5-year fix. Okay, the next question will be like how to qualify the lowest interest rate. Okay, the lower interest rate is 2.59, but the loan is support up to maximum 500,000. Any loan amount above 500,000, 2.59 and 2.89 will be not available. So the next rate will be somewhere around 3.9 to 3.99 above, or loan above 500,000. Question number 8 said that I do not have the tax record of income proof, but I do have income. Can I still get a mortgage loan from the UK? like I say in the early just now, say, regardless how you are, no need to worry about how your circumstance is. Okay, let's speak with us first. We will find you a solution. There are lenders who could accept even though you do not have all this proof, as long as you have income. Okay, there are lenders here could accept your property as the security and provide you the loan. Okay, but the loan amount you might be looking at somewhere around 50 or 60% in that case. Okay, will the lender accept guarantor application? Okay, like I say in the just now, okay, guarantor application is not all lender will do, but there is a lender could do that. Okay, like so just now, the guarantor is something like the parent as a guarantor and the child or the children name the own the title deed. And how long is normally take to get the mortgage approval from the debt approval? Like I say, it's normally take a month, or it could be shorter. Sorry, it could be longer. Okay, depends how you supply us all the information. Okay, I think that's all for me. If you have any question, okay, you can leave it in the later on, then we could answer you all the question. Thank you very much. Back to Melvin.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, David. And of course, now we are going to the exciting part of the what we are showcasing today. Of course, I want to share with you buying well, what is it, but we'll just skip this. And I think what do tenants want? If you want to buy something which is buy to let an investment, from my experience, tenants are looking for excellent transport links, proximity to good schools, local amenities, on-style lifestyle facilities, a little bit, or what we call affordable luxury with amenities there, high-speed broadband. Of course, many people are working from home now, and professional management. Tenants usually wants to speak to professional managers or property managers such as us, and not directly with the landlord. So I hope you can see this, and we have done extensive research, and we have scoured all our developers for the best deals, because our directors themselves are also looking to invest in this period. So what we have now and we are presenting to you now is a development in Zone 1, or you rather be rezoned in Zone 1. It's in the Nine Elms area. It's just a 5 minutes walk from the Battersea Power Station. Now, do note and do bear in mind that just now I said that we did a transaction for 1 bedroom in Battersea Power Station for £690,000. This development is named Lexington Gardens. It will be part of the Northern Line extension, which extends the station from the Nine Elms station to the Battersea Power Station. So it will be rezoned to Zone 1. It is now 262 new private homes with 1 to 3 bedroom homes. It's a 999-year lease with Sainsbury at the site with local amenities. And as you know, the US Embassy is there. We have Embassy Gardens here. And of course, the Battersea area now has been fully built up with the phase 2 coming up. Very interestingly enough is that Battersea, in terms of shopping, in terms of footfall, what they're going to attract in the future is the same footfall as Oxford Circus. So this is the part of the entire regentrification of the Nine Elms area. And again, Lexington Gardens is this development's name. And I'm going to share with you, I'm going to share with you the connectivity. It's a bit lagging, sorry. Yeah, so you have the Northern Line, you have the Battersea station. You have the Battersea station, and of course, this is the extension of the Northern Line. Yeah, sorry about that. You have the extension of the Northern Line, and as you can see, these are all the education centers that you're going to. Is linked to LSE, is linked to King's Cross, is linked to UCL, and of course, St. Pancras King's Cross is just up there, which is the tech hub, of course. So one line to all the education centers and the extension, Lexington Gardens. Of course, you can also stick the Vauxhall Victoria line, which takes you up north. And of course, a lot of people like the Northern Line or the Victoria Line because it cuts into the center of the city faster compared if you're coming from the east or further from the west. And of course, you can see here, as per my mouse, you see it's Samsung, Google, Snapchat, and this is where the tech city is. So it will be part of a Zone 1 regentrification scheme. Impeccable interiors. It will be completed in August, September this year. So you have a gym, you have a private media lounge, you have a concierge, you have a lobby, and of course you have the fully spec'd out interiors, and of course furnishing. Our sister company InStyle will be more than happy to assist. Now, very interestingly enough, we have done the research, and if you look at this area, and this is the heat map of UK property values, of course the rate is the most expensive area. And bear in mind that the price per square foot in the 9 Elms area is 1,200 to 1,500 pounds. And as you can see here in the Battersea area, your median pricing, it's about 938,000 pounds. So remember, I told you that we sold a 1-bedroom sub-sale at 690,000 pounds in Battersea Power Station. What we have here is a 2-bedroom, asking price at 855,000 pounds before discount, assuming that we put a 10% discount and we will negotiate hard for this. You are getting a final price at 769,000 pounds. Now, price per square foot interpreted is 916 pounds per square foot. As you can see earlier from the heat map, it's 963,000 pounds for the median pricing for the area, achieving a gross yield in Zone 1 at 5%. Now, as you all know, for those who have invested, landlords, existing landlords, it's not easy to get a gross yield of 5% in Zone 1 Central London. But these are based on rents that we have achieved at 740 pounds per week. We have a 9 Elms office, and we have done the deals or the rental rates, and these are truly achievable. So based on the rates that David has given us, if you are looking to only buy to let, we have divided this into 2 portions, buy to let, and also which is interest only, and also principal plus interest if you are an owner occupier, or if you decide to pay principal plus interest. So property price after discount 769, cash on deposit you pay about 45% cash, loan amount 423,000 pounds, you take a loan percentage of 55%, interest rate at 2.59%, you pay interest only, estimated monthly rent you get about 3,200 pounds, your monthly mortgage repayment interest only is 913 pounds, you get back cash in hand of about 2,291 pounds. Now, so this is if you have cash in the bank with the very not so good FD rates now, be it in Asia, be it in Malaysia, at about 2%. If you were to transfer this to this asset now, it is completing in August, September. This is what you can achieve monthly. Yeah. So this is the next unit. Of course, it's 897 pounds. Sorry. Yeah, this is the next unit now of 897 pounds, 897,000 pounds. We have a 10% discount of 807,000 pounds, translated into 904 pounds per square foot. Yeah. Similarly, if you take this at 55% at 2.59% interest rate, your return on cash or your cash on hand is quite substantial. Now, let's just say we take the worst case scenario, where you pay 3.99 interest only, you're still getting back about 1,236 pounds. And if you were to pay P plus I at the worst case scenario of 3.99 or rather 4%, 800,000 pounds, you put a cash of 200,000 pounds and a loan margin of about 75% at 4% interest rate, you're still getting a little bit, but of course with the outgoings and all that, then it'll become slightly negative. But what we are sharing with you is, of course, the interest only portion is extremely interesting. If you take anything below 500,000 pounds now, the interest rate is extremely, extremely interesting as an investor. So Lexington Gardens, what we are seeing now, if I were to just go back, remember it's 938,000 pounds in terms of median pricing. What you are getting into now at after discount is about 750,000 pounds or 800,000 pounds. it is still way below the median pricing of the Nine Elms or the Battersea area. So this is one of the developments that we have. We are more than happy to speak more in detail. I'm just showcasing you this development in Zone 1. And of course, if you're looking for something more in a hip and happening area or more for own stay, Shoreditch Exchange is now completed. It has 184 new homes, not too high density, extremely good for your own living, or if your children wants to go somewhere near the city to stay for varsities or study, yes, this would be Shoreditch Exchange. So if you're doing medical in Queen Mary or Barts in London, yeah, it's only a 3 minutes walk to the Hoxton Overground, and of course Old Street is nearby and Liverpool Street is nearby if you're in the finance area, and one hop you are also into the tech city. So this is more if you are looking at buying for your own stay, and if you want to live in it, because the yields, we are very honest, the yields here are not as interesting compared to Lexington Gardens. Lexington Gardens, you're getting at about 5%. Here, the entry price is a bit slightly higher, but you're getting, again, impeccable facilities, residence club lounge, residence gym, private screening room, a 24-hour concierge, and very interestingly enough, it was our sister company, InStyle, who did the interiors or furnish the loose furnishings for this particular development. And this would be an example of a unit that you're looking at, £925,000 for the Shoreditch area. Again, Shoreditch has come out very vibrantly. It's very hip, it's very happening. The middle-aged young people would like to be there. It's just beside Bethnal Green. The whole area is regentrified now. After discount, you're looking at £832,000 at about 1,200 per square foot. Remember, you're right smack in central London. And of course, property price, £832,000. You are looking at £374,000 in terms of cash deposit. If you're using this as an investment, 55% loan, 2.59% interest rate, you are still getting back about 1,698 or £1,700 in terms of cash. Again, definitely still 3.87% is definitely still better than a fixed deposit rate here, which is going lower and lower and lower. But if you're an owner-occupier and you just say, hey, maybe I want a place for my children to stay or to live in, then this is something that you can opt for. Pay around a little bit more, use it as a long-term investment, take a higher loan percentage, just below £500,000, as David said. Take advantage of the low interest rate, and then you can live in it or you can rent it out and you pay a less monthly installment as well. So this is right smack in the center of Shoreditch. Both developments, their service charges at about £4 per square foot. So that is standard across London now. This is just another plot, similar. This we can discuss a little bit more. And of course, we have another exciting deal, and this is also for investment. It's called Sovereign Court. This is by Berkeley Homes. For many of y'all who have invested, whom we have letted out in Sovereign Court, just so you know, I've just went through the prices just now. The 2 beds are now going for at about £1 million or so, £1 million or so, yeah, as compared to when you all bought earlier, for those who have bought in the first phase. So let's look at the median pricing for the Hammersmith area. It's at about £980,000. So this is the median pricing. This you can go to Zoopla, just type heat map Zoopla London property, it will come out. And these are the research that we have done. So remember, £980,000 median pricing. What we are looking at. So we have spoken to Berkeley and they have released a unit, plot 222, level 5, asking price at £914,000 before discount. Assuming a 10% discount, you can make an offer. We will try and negotiate hard for it. Final price is £823,000. Remember, the median pricing just now was at about £950,000 and above. You're getting at £823,000. The new ones being sold are at about £1 million. So definitely a value for money unit. And this would be if you have children who wants to study in Imperial College or Imperial University. There's a direct bus from Hammersmith, from Sovereign Court on site direct to the city. We get many calls from people who want to say, I want to be near Imperial, I want to be near Imperial, but there's just only so many properties near Imperial University. So this would be a best bet. It will be completing soon, and it will be ready soon, so you can move in immediately. I believe it's in July 2020. Yeah, so it's about 750 square feet, a 2-bed, 2-bath, impeccable fit outs, yeah, by Barclay Homes. What if you're to use it as an investment? Again, if you're looking at 55% or 75%, you are still in the blue. You are still getting a little bit of money back, and this can be used to top up your property management fees or our fees in terms of lettings and management, and also your service charges and all that. So you are about neutralizing, or if you take a little bit lower loan, you're getting back a little bit of an amount. So you can monetize this immediately, you can move in immediately, and most of all the developments that we are sharing, you escape the surcharge of the extra 2% stamp duty for foreigners. And next, that we have covered zone 1, zone 2, and this is zone 3. For those of you who might not be able to afford something at £980,000 or £800,000 or at that bracket, don't worry, we have something for you. This is called Clarendon, and I'm very happy to share this scheme because I personally put money in this scheme, and I personally bought a unit there, and I will share with you a few reasons why. Number one, as you can see, it has 4 stations serving it, yeah, 2 overgrounds and 2 undergrounds, and it's right smack in the Hornsey area, and it's just right beside the Alexandra Palace Gardens. It's served by the Piccadilly line, which now has the 24-hour night tube, and it goes down straight to the the tech hub, okay, where all the tech centers are, and of course the St. Pancras, where you get to go to Europe immediately. You have all the varsities connected, and it is 3 stops to King's Cross. It is also the Piccadilly line, where you get to go to Heathrow direct and right smack in the center of the city. So 1 line, no stop, down to Heathrow, or you take the overground and 3 stops, you're down into King's Cross, St. Pancras, and you can go to Europe direct. So we have done, or rather Berkeley has built, it's a Berkeley development, 2 other schemes near this area. One is called Woodbury Down, yeah, and another one is called Smithfield, just right here. Woodbury Down is just right here. For those of you all who have bought Woodbury Down earlier days, you have been laughing to the bank. Today, a 2-bedroom in Woodbury Down is at 800 over 1,000. A 2-bed in Smithfield is at about 800 over 1,000 pounds. And the best part about this is that the 2 bedrooms in Hornsey Park Place is going at about 500,000 pounds, plus minus high 5, sorry. Tenure is 999 years leasehold. Completion would be Q1 2021. So you will still, for the first block, sort of escape the 2% stamp duty surcharge. So 1 line right smack to the city. If you have children going to all these universities, this is one of the very best bet. Or you have children working in the tech center, this is one of the very best bet. Now, I've circled again the heat map. The development is right here. This is the Haringey Ladder, the longest high street in, so to say, London. Yeah. If you look at this area, and of course, you can see the ripple effect happening now. Crouch End, Mill Hill, and all that is coming up very expensively. It's about 933,000 pounds for the medium pricing, or 642,000 pounds. Or rather, if you look at the terrace houses here, or the secondary transactions here, is going at about 587. So this is the Wood Green side, this is the Crouch End side. Of course, the Crouch End side has always commanded a little bit more premium, but what we want as investors is to ride on the ripple effect. Yeah. So how much is it? I showed you just now at about 550, 560 and above. So you're looking at 566 before discount, and if you look at assuming a 10% discount, you're looking at about 500,000 pounds. Now, just take a look back at the heat map. Yeah, so it's at 587. Yeah, this is the median pricing, and we always look at the average transactions. That means up and down average transactions that you're getting. And again, 4 stops or 4 transport hops, 2 overground, 2 tubes. Over here, prices are already at becoming red. So as you can see, it's getting yellow, it's getting redder, it's getting yellow. Then we hope it gets red, but that's what we are banking on and taking a little bit of risk as investors. And this is where we are getting in terms of pricing. Yeah. So £566,000 after discount, £500,000 or £509,000. And this is ideal because you don't have to come up with so much cash. Even if you take the higher loans in terms of interest only at 4%, yeah, or take 75%, you're coming out cash of about £127,000. Yeah, you still get a little bit of surplus in terms enough to cover your service charges, enough to cover your ground rent as you accumulate it among the months or throughout the year. If you're an owner-occupier, you take a 60% loan, £509,000, a loan amount of £305,000, you put in cash of £203,000, yeah, you take a lower loan, and then you can live in it, you can use it for long-term, or you can rent it out in the near future and still pay down your loan in terms of principal plus interest. Yeah, same, yeah, £583,000, £524,000. So it's we have done a lot of research. I mean, my colleague Michelle and I, we have done all this, calculating this, spend hours, so that we hope to provide our investors with the deals that you can see. We are not making this up. It is below the median pricing, and these are such deals that you should be taking your hands on. A lot of people are saying that, oh, property prices will go down, will go down, will go down. Now, very interestingly enough, we have gone to developers with deals, offers, asking for 20% discounts, and we have been rejected time and time again. We ourselves are finding for such deals, but this is the best that we can find, and that's why we are presenting such deals to you today. We have certain sub-sales with great discounts and sub-sale units. I cannot say because this is dictated by the seller, but we have sub-sale units out there. Again, this is often acceptance. So if you like completed, you like to monetize it immediately, you like a property with a tenant inside, just make an offer. We are more than happy to discuss. We are more than happy to sit down and speak with you. And of course, we have also great discounts on reassignments. That means individuals who can't complete. We have already gotten inquiries on this. They've paid a little bit of their deposit and they're willing to take a little bit of hit on their deposit. So that's where you save. And the best part is that you buy at the price of the previous years. So I hope you can follow, and I hope I've shared enough with you in terms of the properties that we have, the 4 schemes, Lexington Gardens, yeah, Shoreditch Exchange, we have Sovereign Court, we have Collindale Gardens for those of you who want a lower quantum property. Just give an offer now. We will negotiate hard. We have been 60 years in the market, and we will work hard. We have a mandate with most, if not all, of the developers. And I hope you have benefited from this. I hope the research has done you justice, and hope that we are not just churning numbers from the air. And thank you very much. And yeah, so the system was a bit lagging just now. My apologies if the slide went back and forth, but thank you very much. And we are now good for our Q&A. Please ask us as many questions, and I'm Mark, myself, and David will be more than happy to answer.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Melvin. That was really interesting. And I think everybody will agree. These are quite hefty discounts. As Melvin says, we as a business with 200 people working and branches throughout Asia, we spend a lot of time looking at the deals that will really help investors get the best maximum value for their money, whether that's in terms of discount or that's in terms of if they want to buy sub-sales. So that's what we're here for. So anyway, Melvin's talked enough about discounts, but we've had some quite interesting questions come through. In fact, one interesting question which has just come through, which is more for Melvin and myself. It's from KB saying, I'm new to the UK market. I want to check which website I can get all the UK property technicality like loans, leasehold, freehold, rental law from. So the answer to that is actually there isn't a website, and there isn't really anywhere that you can get all the information if you don't Google and Google and Google for hours. And even then, I don't think you'll get the answers to anything. So what I always say, whether it's us or somebody else, you need to get a very, very good, unbiased agent. So someone, you know, ourselves is a good example because we have an office in KL, but as I said, there are other agents out there. But someone who's going to guide you properly and tell you the pros and the cons, because there's lots of people that will just tell you all the pros and all the good points. You need people to tell you the bad points and tell you the costs. So do you agree with that, Melvin, or is there anything else that you'd add on that?
Yeah, I think we are here, and our job has been to sit here, look at the market every day, and look at how it is responding, worry about our landlord's property. Are we monetizing it quickly enough for them? Are we carrying it enough for them? So yes, the bylaw changes and all that are coming. You can Google if you're an expert in Google, but there is no exactly one website. And that's why we are here. Email us, speak to us, call us, text us. We have our advice clinic. Our doors are open every day. We are back in the office 24/7 now. And yeah, we have customers coming. So yeah, no worries.
We're here to help you. So I know we've run over today because it's 9:10 for you in Malaysia now. So we're going to quickly whip through a couple more questions. So one question I've had a few times is from Wendy. Do I pay the new stamp duty for overseas people if I exchange before April? Now, April 2021. Melvin, do you want to take that?
So the property, I mean, there's the financial, we have been advised by lawyers that the financial paper has not been fully out yet. So in terms of the impact, no, we cannot be certain for 100% sure, but we have been advised that the property must complete before 2021 for the stamp duty to not apply, for the surcharge of 2% to not apply. And that's why we are taking the safe approach today by advising you correctly, by giving you products that are below median pricing and with exceptional good quality discounts by good AAA developers that you can trust, and it's completed. And of course, COVID now, we can't travel, but if you can travel, then you can see in terms of the impeccable furnishings. But my advice or our advice would be for properties to be completed before 2021.
Sure. I agree with that, Melvin. I would say, though, you shouldn't be so focused on the additional 2% stamp duty. You know, what we're looking for is the best return on your money, the best deal you want. So even if it doesn't complete for another 2-3 years and you're going to have to pay the extra 2%, if you can get such a good deal on it, then the 2% vanishes. Remember, what we look at with UK properties is the value to approximately double every 10 years. So with that in mind, a couple of extra percent shouldn't be the end of the world. But as Melvin said, if we can help you avoid it, we definitely will. And actually, Melvin just made a good point. And someone else asked the question here. I'm just looking for it. Do I have to come to the UK? Mrs. Guo asked, do I need to come to the UK to buy a property? Well, the answer to that is no. And Melvin can tell you why.
You come to the UK for us to pamper you, not to buy a property.
Yeah.
Anita and Marc loves to take our clients out for lunch and have long lunches with them. That was pre-COVID days. But no, you don't need to go to UK. You can always come to our office. We have a central command here. I'm one phone call away to Marc and my MD, and we are independently owned. All the advice, we have our team there, 200 over people doing the groundwork for you. We are an extension arm of them with solicitors. So you don't need to be there. Anything that needs to be signed, needs to be certified, we can certify it for you. And all the independent advice can be done here in our office. Yeah.
Absolutely. And lawyers can do it all on virtually now. Here's a question for David on finance. So there have been a couple of questions. What's the maximum age for a borrower, David?
The borrower actually could borrow up to the applicant's age 85. It also depends on which lender. Some lender they accept up to 70s, and some lender they up to age 85. So that's not an issue.
85. Wow, that's good. Here's another quick question. What's the maximum loan tenure?
Maximum loan tenure, every time the mortgage will approve maximum for 25 years or up to the age of the client 85 or 70.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, that's really good. Another question is there any restriction, maybe this is for both of you, is there any restriction, Anthony so asked, is there any restriction imposed by Bank Negara on Malaysians getting a loan in a foreign currency?
There's no such restriction in UK. Okay, so any foreigner they could come to the UK and buy the property and apply the loan here in the UK. So there's no restriction in the UK.
If I can just add on that, I think if the restrictions would come, I don't think there are any restrictions because previously for Australian properties, tons of Malaysians were getting loans from NAB, ANZ, and all that. I think there are lesser Malaysians getting loans from UK banks. So yeah, so there's no restrictions, and thus far, and as per David said correctly, locally, Maybank do both in terms of London as well as Malaysia. If you're a Maybank client, you can also speak to them. Yeah.
Okay, another question, which the same Anthony asked, but it's a really good one because I've had 3 people ask this. Is a Malaysian landlord, this is really for Melvin, entitled to some sort of UK tax rebates on rentals collected? Well, I'll answer the first bit. You offset your expenses against your income and you pay tax on the net amount of your income. But Melvin will answer if a Malaysian gets
so as a Malaysian, we have certain privileges or in terms of income tax for your rental. You get a tax-free bracket of about £11,000, and that £11,000 is tax-free after deductions of your accessible expenses on the property, such as council, ground rent, hour fees, accounts fees, etc. So mainly if you own one property, you have to file for tax. That is your fiduciary or judiciary duty as an investor. But normally you don't pay for tax because the amount would be slightly lower and the tax-free bracket covers for that. So unless you own a bigger portfolio, then yes, the income tax amount that you need to pay applies. But for landlords who have 1 to 2 properties, it's very minimal, or they don't even pay tax at all.
That's great. Yeah, exactly. You can really minimize the taxes. A lot of our clients now are looking at buying through company structures. If you want that, we're working with a fantastic new company that will set up a single company, and it only costs £500 to set up the company and £250 per annum for all the expenses that go with the company. So actually that's becoming increasingly interesting. Here's another good question will Malaysia's commitment, i.e. your commitments in Malaysia, affect the loan application in London? David?
There is depends on if you are applying for the mortgage as a repayment principal and interest, your any commitment in anywhere in the world will become. Okay, if you're applying for the mortgage for the interest only, depends on the lender that we are choosing. Some of the lenders that don't count these commitments so heavily. So
I think, David, just to add on and help this question, because in Malaysia we have the interbank checking. That means I can check how much loan I've gotten from this bank. I can check how much loan I've gotten from the other bank. As you know, I think what he's saying is that will they be able to check what other loans they have in Malaysia?
Yes, because when for a Malaysian who apply for the mortgage, okay, what normally the lender here will do, they will ask you to get this credit report from the Malaysia. With this credit report, it will show up all whatever loan you have with any bank. So from there, the lender will see everything. But I say if you are if you are taking the mortgage as an interest only, okay, your commitment is not really that important because your property actually is self-financed by its rental income itself. So that's not really an important.
That's what I always do, get buy-to-let loans. That's much better. I think it's much better to get interest only and then use all your income to build up for another property. And that's how you build a purchase. We're really running over. I know it's 9:20 now for you in Malaysia. So I'm going to let 2 more questions come through. First one is, Ricky asked, are there any hidden costs like monthly maintenance charges and taxes? So I'm assuming by that he means, are there other charges you have to pay out of the rental income when you rent it? I think that's the one that we're going to answer. Melvin, do you want to take that?
I think every country or every property, there are outgoing costs or holding costs for a property. You have your maintenance. Just like in Malaysia, you pay your service charges, you pay your maintenance. You have your ground rent, it's like our quick rent in Malaysia. And of course, you have your council, which is like our assessment in Malaysia. So similar that you have. So that's why if you would like to have a positive cash flow, then take a little bit of lower loan, as David said, lesser than £500,000, get a bit of more cash in hand, and then the property will be self-financing.
I will add that into that, but for the mortgage side, actually there's no hidden cost. So everything is clear, you know, at the beginning. So you have nothing to worry what other hidden cost. There's no such hidden cost at all.
Okay, brilliant. And I think there was one here. One person, last question I think that someone said is, why would I buy London now? Miss Lee said, why would I buy London now over other UK cities where the yields are much higher? So I'll quickly answer it how I see it is, I'm based in London, I live in the UK, I've lived here all my life. I would only ever buy in London because I believe London is the place where it is the banking centre, the finance centre, and it's the hub. And this is the place where which gets hit last when there's crises like we're seeing at the moment. London has been flat, and it has been challenging, but it's been flat. We have not seen prices coming off. We've seen some pressure on rents, but we haven't seen on prices. Yes, you can get higher yields in some cases outside London, but actually it's where property is why people buy property, certainly why I and most of our investors buy property, is because you want a capital gain. And if you want a capital gain, London is the place that has historically seen the biggest amounts of gain on a longer term basis. Clearly you can get high yields, but there's this balance between high yield and very low growth, high growth and very low yield, and a mix in the middle. And I think if you're thinking about buying outside London, you should try to look at some of the outskirts of London rather than going to Birmingham or Manchester. Not that they're bad and we can help you there. My view is that should be part of a diversified portfolio. So if this is your first purchase, buy in zone 3, zone 4, zone 5, someone like Clarendon that Melvin mentioned, or we have lots of others where you can get in a lower value and you'll get a mix of capital gain and growth. If you've got a larger portfolio, 5, 6 units, then it's fine to diversify and take stuff on a high yield. Melvin, what do you think? Because I think we get asked that a lot in Malaysia.
Very quickly, I think your question is a very good question, but my advice would be try to steer clear of student cities. It's very tempting. Yes, yields are high and all that, but like Marc said very clearly, and I always advise clients is that you want a working economy where there are professionals, more professionals, and also, of course, you have students. But look at the situation now with this COVID pandemic hitting. It is the students, cities, and students, after students leaving, these are the investments that will be impacted. And a lot of apartments, primarily, for example, student cities have been impacted. So you want a mixture of a city like London where there is hustle and bustle, professionals, a great working economy, and all that. Yeah. So just be careful if you're just going into student cities.
I think the last question that we're going to answer, because I've seen it, and I think this is a great one. Does having UK property speed up the process or help you get an application to migrate or emigrate to the UK? Melvin?
No, it is not a fast track system. Of course, they have business investment visas where you have to input a couple of £1 million into government bonds and government schemes and then qualify or stay there for certain years. But I think if buying a property helps you gain a citizenship or visa, I think very soon the whole of Asia will be there, or whole of China, whole of Hong Kong will be there. No, so that does not apply. Yeah.
Well, that's us for today. So I just want to say thank you very much, David, for your really helpful talk on finance. I think that was really informative, and especially I've seen a lot of these, and actually I felt today was the most helpful. So thank you very much, David.
Thank you, everyone. Okay.
Thank you, and then thanks very much to Melvin for your help. And if anybody has any questions, I know there's quite a few questions we haven't been able to answer, and some of them are really good. And Melvin is your best bet. You can email webinar@benhams.com. Melvin's number is on the screen now if you want to take a quick photo of it. He's available 24/7. Feel like contacting him anytime you want. If you're in the middle of the night, just contact Melvin's always ready to answer. Well, he is for us in London. And the last thing before I go, I'd just like to say, if you've enjoyed this, I hope you have. We're doing another webinar, a very exciting webinar. It's not been done before, on the 11th of June. It's at 10 a.m. UK time, which is 5 p.m., a little bit earlier than this one. It's called the London Property Roundtable, where we're going to have an exclusive panel of experts with some of the biggest names in property in London, who are going to be there'll be no talks, it'll just be straight question and answer, and it'll be hard-hitting questions, because I've seen some from some of our clients. We're going to have a tax advisor, a lawyer, another broker, head of intelligence for Rightmove, which is very exciting for us to get. And then there are going to be a couple of property experts, including myself. So if you want to join that, please feel free. Look on our website, benhams.com/webinars. It's on there. Please feel free to register. Come along, ask your hardest questions. And as I said, whether it's from law to tax to finance to historic figures, come along and join. We'd love to see you and welcome you. And once again, thank you very much for joining. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.